How's everyone doing?
Hey y'all!
We're back again. Team Loper here. Extra she wanna be.
Always.
Formally introducing ourselves, my name is Joaquin Loper, and this is my beautiful wife, Stacey Loper.
Stacey Loper.
Y'all have no idea. You know what? We're gonna do a segment on what y'all don't understand when I go through one day, I swear. And y'all, you still won't get a clear understanding
they still wouldn't understand
of what I go through, but at least you'll be able to feel me some. Okay? But we're here today again with a powerful message, I believe. Last week, God was really dealing with us with some things and pouring into us about some things to speak into marriages about. And yesterday at church service, and our apostle, man, it was amazing. His message was everything and more what God had been dealing with us about. It's just for just speaking into marriages and what we could talk about. And
absolutely. The Holy Spirit just really consumed the place. People were being set free and
yes.
just from the bondages of life,
Yes.
of brokenness yesterday. When I tell you God was just doing an amazing thing in church yesterday.
Amazing.
He was doing an amazing thing in church yesterday.
And today we're gonna poke on the issue of brokenness in marriages.
Yes.
And not just brokenness, the broken things you brought into the marriage.
Yes.
So that's the question we're posing to marriage today. What brokenness did you bring into your marriage?
Yes.
And have you dealt with it?
Yes. As marriage counselors and as a grief recovery specialist, we see these things all the time. We see that people are broken where grief has set in, rejection, neglect, all these emotions that people have not dealt with have been taken into every aspect of their life from the moment it took root in their hearts. And what they don't realize is that every relationship that they've built from that moment that they have not dealt with the grief or that they experienced the emotion, they have taken it into every aspect of their lives, and it has complicated things. It has hindered them. So what brokenness have you brought into the marriage that's hindering your marriage, is hindering your growth, hindering the vision that you have for your family,
yes.
for your marriage, for your spouse, for yourself? How is that brokenness hindering what you have going on in your life? For me personally, my brokenness almost ended our marriage. And when I realized that it was all of these broken pieces that I hadn't dealt with, that I had not become whole as an individual, when I realized that, I had to make a choice. I had to make a choice to take a look at the man in the mirror and say, God, I need you to change me. I need you to change me, because if I wasn't going to work with God to change me, then that meant one of two things: that my husband was going to walk out of this marriage and our purpose would not be fulfilled, or I had to change myself. I had to change that broken, that miserable, that bitter person that I was as a female, as a woman, as a daughter. And I had to say, okay, God, I need you to change me because I want to fulfill the purpose that you have in my life. And I know that that purpose includes this man right here. And so I had to make that tough decision. I had to walk through the pain of those decisions. I had to take myself back to those emotional issues that I had that I never dealt with, those scars that were left from the wounds I had from 15, 20, 30 years prior to meeting this man and bringing all of this into his life. You know, I had to make that decision. And with that decision came so much healing. There came so much joy, so much peace in what God was doing in my life. And for 7 years, I've been walking that out. Now, granted, it wasn't easy. I had to go through the pain. I had to lose some people. I mean, people walked out of my life because I was different, because I had changed. I was no longer that person they thought they knew.
Yeah.
But I'll take that. I'll take them walking out of my life any day for what I am experiencing right now in this marriage, in my life, in my growth, in my career. I'll take that any day. I'll take people walking out of my life and not rejoicing with me on where I am. I'll take it any day, because I know what God has done in my life and how I feel and what it has done for my family.
Yes. I must agree. Um, but just not, with her. I brought baggage into the marriage also. So there were a lot of insecurity. There was a lot of brokenness. There was a lot of fear, rejection, um, loneliness, pride,
Mm-hmm.
and that was consumed from everything. So man, it was like the perfect storm. We were the perfect people for each other. My
Yeah.
wife used to always tell me, even before the issue, Joaquin, I just feel and God tells me that you're the one for me. And when you're going through difficult times in a marriage, if that person's not strong enough to deal with that or grounded in God, I thank God that was grounded in Christ at the
Yes.
time, because Holy Spirit just kept telling me to pray, stay and pray. Even though I didn't want to stay,
Mm-hmm.
but I was obedient and wouldn't change anything. Wouldn't change a thing.
Wow.
Now,
I appreciate that.
now I wouldn't change a thing, because then I was like, but I
Yeah.
wouldn't change a thing. But the brokenness has truly built a rock and a forge around us, and
Yes.
we call ourselves the unbreakables, because
Yes.
now things just don't bother us, people don't bother us,
Right.
but we had to grow to that.
Yes.
And the first thing we had to do was look at the individual
Mm-hmm.
in the mirror,
Mm-hmm.
not the other person. We have to look at the individual in the mirror and find out, man, why do I always get offended when she says certain things like this? Why does it bother me when she acts like this?
And I had to do the same thing. Man, I'm telling you, my husband, he
Ooh.
plays a lot. He jokes a lot. And one of the things that he joked about a lot was my past. I'm spoiled rotten, always have been. And my uncles better not comment to this video about how spoiled I am. But and my husband was one of those men who I would ask for something, or I would ask him to do something. He's like, no. I'll never forget wanting my husband, when he was my boyfriend, to mow my yard. And he was gonna mow my yard because it was terrible. I mean, it was up to my knees because I didn't know how to mow yard, and then my landlord didn't that didn't come with the rent. Okay, so he was like, all right, I'll bring a lawnmower over and we can do it together. And I was like, I don't do yards. What did I say that for? I was like, I don't do yards. He was like, okay. Okay. This yard won't get done until you do it. I had to borrow my neighbor's lawnmower to mow my yard the very first time. But let me tell you what that taught me. Women, I want you to pay close attention to this. A man will do for you what you will do for yourself. My husband taught me that day that you don't have to do it for yourself, but as long as you know how to do it, that if it has to get done, you're able to do it.
Yeah.
So that if that time ever came that you had to be able to do that, you would be able to do it. It doesn't mean that just because you know how to do it, you got to do it all the time. If a man sees that you are willing to do this for yourself, he will bend over backwards to do it for you. Because he knows you don't have an expectation from him. You don't need him. You want him.
Yeah.
And that was one of the things that it taught my husband. And we carry that along with our kids, especially our girls. They know how to change a tire. They know how to change their own oil. So they don't have to depend on anybody. It doesn't mean that you're going to have to do this for yourself, but at least know how to do it.
Yeah.
So he definitely taught me that. Because I wasn't going to mow that yard. That yard was not going to get done. Mm-mm.
And that's a great example as to speaking into breaking the cycle of brokenness in a marriage. Because you can go through the life and saying, hey, well, I didn't know how to do this, so you don't have to do this. This person hurt you, so don't trust this person.
Mm-hmm.
This happened to me, so don't trust it. No, man, we have to break cycles and generational curses in families, and they do exist. And I thank God, our family, me and my wife and our kids are being raised, and we are teaching our kids totally different than how we were raised.
Absolutely.
And it's all based in foundation with God.
Mm-hmm.
But it's balance.
Yes.
A lot of balance in there.
Because we know that our kids are going to be who they are, and they can only ride on our faith, our favor for so long. Mm-hmm. And then they have to build their own relationship. And that's one of the things that we preach to our kids all the time. And we teach them, baby, you can only go so far on mommy and daddy's faith, our favor. and our prayers, which we will continue to cover them for the rest of their lives and ours too. But they have to establish their own relationship, and in that timing, that's great for them, you know. But when you talk about brokenness and you talk about how it has simmered over time, and how you've stuffed over time, and it can be that one moment that you begin to explode, and you might explode on the wrong person, and you're taking out all that brokenness on that person that it wasn't meant for. That's not fair. That's not fair. But we just recently had a plumbing issue at our home that spoke to us in a mighty way. Mighty way.
Yeah, as we discovered the leak up under our foundation, the concrete foundation, we didn't realize the leak had actually been leaking for probably over a month. And I tried to find it myself, me being the person I am, and it didn't work. What I had to do was call a professional. And as we were getting the work done, God was just correlating it to our life. Sometimes we try to deal with issues ourselves, and we really need help from somebody who's more experienced in it. But sometimes our pride will not allow us to just ask for help. We have to be humble enough just to ask for help, because the Bible talks about, ask.
Seeking godly counsel.
Yeah, you have to seek godly counsel. You have to ask for help. So if you don't ask, you're going to still keep going around the same circle.
Yes.
So as the guy came out, I looked for it for days. In 45 minutes and a healthy price, he found it. And when I found the issue, I busted the concrete up, and the pipe that was exposed and cracked is right here. This little pipe was causing all the issues of water up under our foundation. But this is the little spot, the only spot on the pipe that was cracked. And it had created a gorge up under the foundation, but you couldn't see it. And that's how sin is. The little things you try to keep in secret, and your brokenness is really spreading, and you don't even know it because you think you're hiding it.
And then it becomes exposed.
Yes, and when it becomes exposed, it affects everyone.
And it's so ugly. Our yard was so ugly. It was just puddles of water everywhere. And we were like, oh my God, that little bitty little scratch in that pipe created all of this. But over time, it just began to come out and expose itself. And that's what sin does. That's what your brokenness does. When it gets hot, when there's too much pressure, you become exposed. Your brokenness becomes exposed, and people began to see it. Heal. Get healed. Get healed, people.
Seek the grief recovery. Seek the counseling you need.
Yes.
Just because you seek counseling and grief recovery doesn't make you less of a man or less of a woman.
Absolutely.
One of the things that my wife and I truly have to give us credit for this. We were so open with everything in the beginning of our marriage. She told me detailed issues about things she was insecure about. And I've always been so honest. I told her childhood things that really had me bound. I didn't know how bound I was until I got married. Marriage within itself is going to bring stuff out of you.
Yes.
That you think you have a handle on. Okay. Get married.
Yes. Highly, highly, highly. We highly encourage you to get premarital counseling and postmarital counseling.
Yes.
Have that godly counsel available in your marriage, so that when you begin to feel a certain way, when things begin to arise, you nip it in the bud
quickly.
ASAP.
Yep.
Don't let that stuff fester. Do not allow that to fester. Do not allow it to confuse the covenant that you've made before God, with God, and with your spouse. It's not worth it. It's not worth it.
So in short, basically what she's saying is you have to find someone that she can snitch to, because she's going to snitch. She's the one's going to be the snitch. But guess what? I appreciate every time she snitches on me.
I used to have to text my pastor and be like, look, come get this dude, come get this man, because yeah. My pastor used to always just shake his head. He would laugh at us. It was just like, man, we ain't playing.
Yeah.
We got to get this stuff taken care of. This can't go. We can't go on with this. We got too many people to help.
be broken ourselves.
To be broken like that, man. We got to get this mess out of us, and that's what we did.
And it has been glorious.
Yes.
And this is not a one-time process. We're still recovering from things. We're still dealing with things. Or at least now we know how to deal with it. We know how to pray at it and get it out of us. And go to each other and say, hey, baby, I'm dealing with this right now.
Yes.
And she prays for me. Hey, okay, I'm dealing with this right now. And I pray for her.
Yes.
That's what you're supposed to do with your spouse. I can't worry about or try to look at her as who she used to be. That's why I could actually joke about her past, because in my mind, I was letting her know I'm cool with your past. I can deal with it.
Yeah, but in my mind, when I was still going through my brokenness, I would always think that my husband was my enemy. You know, I'm like, why are you bringing that up? That's not me anymore. That, you know, that used to be me. Why you got to bring that into the marriage? And my husband will look at me and be like, look, I don't know what's going on with you, but that's your mess. And I need you to fix that. I need you to get a handle on that. And I appreciate him for that. You know, he was not my enemy. He wasn't trying to, you know, belittle me or bring back that person that I used to be. You know, he just used to have fun with it. Because when I really look at it, that stuff was funny. That stuff was real funny.
Hilarious. Hilarious.
So, you know, I had to stop being offended and stop trying to defend myself against this man who was only trying to be a part of my growth.
And, man, this is a segment we're going to piggyback on, because I know we've went a little longer than we've ever done. But this is a subject that many couples really need to get a hold on.
Yes.
And you need to accept that you're broken, first of all.
Yes.
If the other person doesn't know how broken you are, have that conversation with them.
I highly encourage you to have that conversation with your spouse, because that would be the very person that you need to walk out that healing with.
Yes.
You know, you all walk out together, because you can't do it alone.
Yeah.
You can't.
And like my wife stated earlier, there are going to be once you start getting healing and really understand your brokenness, there are going to be some people, some things, some events, some, you know, regular things you listen to, music, all this kind of stuff is going to have to leave your life, because it's affecting your life.
Yes.
And it's not going to be hard. As my wife said, it was difficult because you're purging the flesh. Yes. And as you purge the flesh, it's not going to be peaceful. You've been feeding that flesh with all this negativity and all this sinful nature for a very long time. And now your inner man has to be fed. Yes. So it's going to be a struggle. It's going to be a battle. Yes. But hey, you can do it. With God, we can do anything. So we just want to come to you all today, blended and winning, encouraging marriages, encouraging individuals. Yes. This is something you really want to get a hold on before you get married. But once you are married, it's best to fight it together, not against each other. Not against each other,
absolutely. He is not your enemy. She is not your enemy. Know that. I am not your enemy. Whatever. Don't do that.
It's just me. All right. Look here. Blended and winning. We're out. Love you guys. Team Loper. Till next time.
Bye.
God bless.